The absurdity of the Homo-Hetero dispute. The prevailing grand narrative and the hegemonic symbolic order steadfastly seek all possible ways to obscure class conflict, reconfigured as class massacre, that since 1989 has been an unidirectional attack by the overlord against the slave. They achieve their desired aim through the decomposition of the collective so as to frustrate the traditional pattern of vertical conflict between maiores and minores, between the higher order and the lower order, between the overlord and the servant. This is also why the current hegemonic order uses disputes over sexual arrangements in the service of power and global capitalism. Thus, attention is diverted away from the fundamental master-slave conflict, while a false dichotomy between gender and sexual orientation is created, a dichotomy that is far more effective amongst the dominant power nexus than we realize. This is why the perceived conflict is no longer between master and slave, but rather between homosexuals and heterosexuals, men and women, etc. Hence, we must abandon these false dichotomies in order to facilitate a reverticalization of the conflict. It makes no sense to pit heterosexuals against homosexuals or transsexuals. They no more constitute a distinct class than migrants, Mohammedans, Christians, or atheists. We should instead lend unequivocal support to precariat workers and oppressed wage slaves, whether they be homosexual or heterosexual, men or women, autochthonous or non-autochthonous. Moreover, absolute power invariably emerges as the undisputed victor when their efforts lead to the successful fragmentation of class consciousness, prompting an unemployed or precarious homosexual to experience a sense of fraternal camaraderie and solidarity with a homosexual financial tycoon whose delocalization policies and volatile capital flows negatively impact workers. Power holds sway over souls when it succeeds in persuading slaves to believe that the enemy lurks within their own ranks or even within lower ranks. With horizontally configured conflicts between marginalized members of society organized in battles between homosexuals and heterosexuals, migrants and autochthonous, Mohammedans and Christians, infidelis and believers, men and women, absolute power triumphs absolutely, and the paradox of interclassism is rendered virtually indiscernible. It is time to begin anew.